भाइयों और बहनों, आप सबको मेरा सलाम, आदाब और नमस्कार। ये सलाम, आदाब और नमस्कार कहने की जहमत मैं इसलिए उठा रहा हूँ और उर्दू बोलने की कोशिश मैं इसलिए कर रहा हूँ कि मेरे हाथ में एक किताब है और इस किताब में एक चित्र है। इस पर कुछ नहीं लिखा हुआ, लेकिन मुझे ये आशा ही नहीं, पूर्ण विश्वास है कि इस चित्र को देख करके आप मुझे अव्वल दर्जे का बेवकूफ कह रहे होंगे, क्योंकि आप जानते हैं इसका नाम क्या है। इस व्यक्ति को आज का युवा बहुत जानता है और इस जानने पहचानने के चक्कर में ही यह किताब मेरे हाथ में लगी है। इस किताब का मैं आपको पैसे देना चाहता हूं। जहां तक मेरी जानकारी है, इस व्यक्तित्व के बारे में हिंदी में बहुत सारी किताबें हैं। शायद इनके लिखे हुए कलामों को जानने वाले बहुत हैं, लेकिन अंग्रेजी में कोई किताब नहीं है। मैं इस पुस्तक का पिछला भाग अब आपको दिखाता हूं। इसमें इस पुस्तक का परिचय दिया गया है। सबसे पहले मैं आपको वह परिचय पढ़ के सुनाता हूं और ज्यादा गोलमोल बात नहीं करता हूं। Being John Elia, this book is not a biography. It is a reckoning, written as a posthumous confession in the imagined voice of John Elia. This book enters the mind of one of the Urdu's most unsettling geniuses and refuses to look away. Here is John not as a monument or a martyr, but as a living contradiction. Intelligent, emotionally renewous, fiercely honest, and devastatingly human. Moving between exile and belonging, love and cruelty, faith and refusal, this work interrogates the cost of uncompromising throughout the damage brilliance can leave in its wake. It does not ask you to admire John Elia, nor to forgive him. It asks you to argue with him. Now, what is this book about? Who is the author is not important. This is a book I found that it is printed in France, so it will be hard to find in India at present. I want to know how many of you would like to read John Elia and his confessions in English. Please write in comments. This is a book about John Elia. This book is different from other books. I find this book is different, really different. On the cover page, there is the name of the author is missing. The name of the person who is picturized is missing, but still people can find out who is he. And if you know that he is John Elia, a poet, a shair who went away from India, he left India in 1950s and went to stay in Pakistan. He died in Pakistan, but he lives still in the hearts of millions of Indians, especially youth. There are several books available in the market, and they say that John Elia is a wonderful poet. But this man did not get the time and energy to write his own book or to compile his poems into a book form until he became 60 years of age. So what is this? Who is this man? It is said that one of his relatives was Kamal Amrohi. It is said that he was a learned man who was as good as Amitabh Bachchan's father, Harivansh Rai Bachchan, in Pakistan. Think about Harivansh Rai Bachchan in Pakistan. He, in Pakistan, this man was the departmental head of language section, Urdu language section. And he died at the age of 68, 67. This book is written as if this man is writing his memoirs, his autobiography after his death. So this is not a book in which you will find the collection of his poetry. You will find it everywhere. How did I get this book? Let me read a paragraph from the first page of this book. I was trying to know about this gentleman, and I found that the BBC was telling him that he is the rock star of Urdu poetry. What is this rock star of Urdu poetry? And then they told me so many things about him. I tried to find out more about this man. There was a book by Kumar Vishwas, and Kumar Vishwas is not an ordinary poet in India at present. He is a person who is a known face on YouTube and social media. His book was already there in Hindi. Then I came across with a professor of a University of Texas translating one of the forewords of his book. And what he writes, I am going to read it for you. The name of the gentleman is, that professor is Hamza Iqbal. And he writes, for an Urdu wala, it is a rare not to know or have heard of JAUN ELIA. It would be even more rare for them to know him or know of him and not have an opinion about him and or of his poetry. In the past few years, thanks to the rise of social media, JAUN ELIA has come to occupy hearts of hundreds of thousands of admirers on both sides of the subcontinental border, who often organize events that foreground readings and performance of his poetry. Very good. I was in the Netherlands and I tried to find out a book, but I could find no book on him or about him in English. That's why this book. Let me tell how he writes and why he is so famous. And all the excerpts or all the passages I am going to read from the book in my hand. The most famous couplet, which is written by him, is as follows. मैं हूं जॉन, हूं जनाब, इसका बेहद लिहाज कीजिएगा, साल है साल और एक लम्हा, कोई भी तो ना इसमें बल आया, खुद ही एक दर पे मैंने दस्तक दी, खुद ही लड़का सा मैं निकल आया. For an Urdu knower person, what you call Urdu da or Urdu speaker, these lines are very clear. For a person who knows Hindi, he will also find it very easy. What this book does is translating these lines into poetic form into English. So those who are unfamiliar or less familiar with this kind of poetry and they want to appreciate him, they will find this book useful. Why a poet says these things and why you should read him. अगर पढ़ने लगो तो जॉन पढ़ना, अगर पढ़ने लगो तो जॉन पढ़ना, बड़े शायर पढ़े ऐसा पढ़ा नहीं कोई. None other than this. So there must be something very, very important about him. He must be something unique. Why he is unique? Why? You must be aware of his looks, because this is the time of YouTube and Facebook. So hundreds of YouTube shorts and 30 seconds clips, you will find him everywhere present. Every minute you can see him and listen to him. तेरे बगैर मुझे चैन कैसे पड़ता है, मेरे बगैर तुझे नींद कैसे आती है. So these lines, very clear, crisp language of the subcontinent. He is going to depict the mental condition of a youth in love. So when a young soul is going to read it or going to listen to him, he thinks that this line is useful for him. People are using his lines to express themselves. That's why people are reading him. That's why he is loved by the youth. And this book is going to help those who are finding it difficult to understand the nuances of Urdu poetry, or they are also not so well versed in Hindi. Now see the translation of these lines. I am going to read these lines again. तेरे बगैर मुझे चैन कैसे पड़ता है, मेरे बगैर तुझे नींद कैसे आती है. How could I ever find peace without you? And how could you fall asleep without me? Simple translation in monosyllable language. That's why you can enjoy only when you understand the poetry of this man, and this book is going to help you. This book is going to give you one more thing: the biography of the man who lived in a country where it is very difficult for Indians to go. That's why this book is useful. Now, what does JAUN ELIA say about himself? Let me read a line. एलिया जॉन कुछ नहीं करता, सिर्फ खुशबू में रंग भरता है. So this man is a poet who says that I do not do anything. I am just trying to do something unique. I simply color scant, that's all. That's why this is very, very easy read. From Amroha, you must have heard the name of the city, Amroha, where he was born in 1931. And all his family, almost all his family, went away to Pakistan. It shows that he must be having some kind of knowledge and ability to go there, or the kind of bent of mind. But he did not go, and he went in 1956 or 57. Why did he go? He went there because he was caught up with a problem. He got tuberculosis. There was no one in the city to look after him. And that's why he left the city. Now, If he leaves the city as a poet, how do we know that he was a poet in this city? And he writes in the preface of his book, his only book published in his lifetime, Shayad. In the preface of his book, which you will find in this book also, he says that when I was 8 years of age, उनकी तमाचे खाए हैं, चाह में उसकी तमाचे खाए हैं, देख लो सुर्खी मेरे रुखसार की. It is like John Keats. Those who are familiar with English, they know John Keats. When John Keats, the poet of the English language, when his father came to know that he was reciting poetry and writing poetry at the age of 8, he started beating his son. And he said to his father, Papa, Papa, mercy take, I shall never verses make. So you see how they resemble. पूत के पैर पालने में दिखाई देते हैं. He was reciting poetry. He was saying his pain. He was expressing his pain in verse form. So वो कहते हैं ना कि he was a poet since birth. I am sure that this kind of story cannot be made, because though it may have been told to him later on, and he tells these kind of stories to his friends and well-wishers later on. I have collected all those stories with the help of my time and energy, which I devoted to watching so many YouTube videos so that I could collect all the information, because I can't go to Pakistan to collect information. I cannot read. The author of this book cannot read the script in which all the books are written by him. The author of these books cannot go to smart classes and he can read Urdu into English script or Roman script. He can listen to the YouTube videos, and on the basis of that, early in the morning, before the sun rises in the east, he listens as if JAUN ELIA is himself telling him his story, and he just writes with the help of his laptop. This book is near about 200 pages. To be precise, it is 141 pages, 40 pages book. काम करते हैं और हम हैं के नाम करते हैं. जिंदगी एक फन है, लम्हों का अपने अंदाज से बयान करते हैं. जौन दुनिया की चाकरी करके तूने दिल को वो नौकरी क्यों की. Now you will find that all the couplets written by him, which you will find useful in your daily life. When I say daily life, it doesn't mean that you go to your work and then you start reciting these couplets. In your personal life, the time of your breakup, or when you see the eyes of your beloved, then you will realize that these lines are useful, because they will express what is the poet doing. He is expressing which nobody can express so well. There is an interview here with JAUN ELIA. Interviewer asks, John Saab, thank you for agreeing to speak. I know this is an intrusion, bringing you back from the grave. प्लीज, कब्र सिर्फ जिस्म को मिलती है, बेचैनी को नहीं। और फिर तुम लोग जिंदा रहकर कौन सा सुकून मना रहे हो? I was already present among you. You did want to listen, or you just didn't want to listen? Interviewer: I am trying to write a confessional biography, not a celebration. I want to understand you, your anger, your refusal. Refusal? No, I didn't refuse life. Life refused honesty, and I refused to lie back. इसमें गुस्सा कम है, क्लैरिटी ज्यादा है। I: Your prose is mercilessly towards society. You describe it as built on lies because it is. इस सोसाइटी में झूठ सिर्फ बोला नहीं जाता, ऑर्गेनाइज किया जाता है। राइट, लेफ्ट, फ्रंट, बैक, हर सिमत झूठ है। और फिर तुम पूछते हो कि लोग इरिटेट क्यों हैं, एंग्री क्यों हैं, झल्लाहट, गुस्सा क्यों आता है? वो सबकी एलर्जी होती है। ये इंटरव्यू चलता रहता है, 10 पेज तक इंटरव्यू चलता है। ऐसा लगता है कि इंटरव्यू लेने वाला और जॉन एलिया दोनों साक्षात हो गए हैं। अब आपको इस पुस्तक का केवल स्वाद ही तो मुझे देना है, पूरी पुस्तक यदि मैं आपको परोस दूंगा तो यह इसके प्रकाशक के साथ बेइंसाफी होगी, नाइंसाफी होगी। फिर भी जहां तक मेरे सामने अब ये मुझे मौका मिला है तो मैं कुछ और लाइन आपके सामने रखता हूं। बिछड़ के जॉन तेरे आस्थान से, लगाया जी बहुत पर जी लगता नहीं। अब ये कविता की जो पंक्तियां हैं या ये जो शेर है, इसको आप कहीं भी प्रकट कर सकते हैं, ये प्रयोग कर सकते हैं। मुझको लिखना, मुझको लिख के खत जानम, अपने ध्यान में शायद ख्वाब ख्वाब जबानों से, ख्वाब ख्वाब लम्हों में, यूं ही बेख्याली आई, जुर्म कर गई हो तुम, और ख्याल आने पर उससे डर गई हो तुम। यहां कवि के या शायर के कुछ पत्र भी मौजूद हैं जिन्होंने उन्हें लिखा है, और वे अपनी प्रेमिका से कहते हैं कि इनको जलाना नहीं। किसी से कोई खफा भी नहीं रहता अब तो, किसी से कोई खफा भी नहीं रहता अब तो, गिला करो कि गिला भी नहीं रहा अब तो। इस तरह की पंक्तियां हैं, गालिब रहीन हैं। अब मैं अपनी बात को समाप्त करना चाहूंगा। इस शायर की सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि यह अपने आप को स्थापित करना चाहता रहा, स्थापित करना, अपने आप को एक बड़ा शायर समझता रहा, मानता रहा। लेकिन यह हमेशा होता है कि कई बार किसी व्यक्ति को उतना यश तब नहीं मिलता जब वह जिंदा होता है, और उसके बाद मिलता है। लेकिन फिर भी वह रेजिस्ट करता, कहता है गालिब रहे हैं पिछली सदी के नामवर, ये जॉन की सदी है, सभी इलियाई हैं। अब यदि आप भी ये मानते हैं कि आप भी इलियाई हैं, या इलिया की कविताओं के, उनके शेर और शायरी की, उनकी नज़मों के, उनके लेखन के कदरदान हैं, प्रशंसक हैं, and you would like to read him in his language, you are welcome. You can go to Urdu and you can read in Urdu. But if you are not familiar with the Urdu script, if you find it still difficult in Hindi, because you live in the south of India or any part of the Indian subcontinent where Hindi script is also difficult to understand, this book is a welcome guide for you to start with. It's a premier. And the beauty of this is that it's a premier which you can find it in the words of JAUN ELIA. The person who created this book is in the background. So if you want to know the name of the author who did this kind of mischief, you can always go to Amazon and find out. The writer of this book know more about JAUN ELIA in English. They will find this is the only book present in 2026. Thank you.